Hey, hey! Welcome to Soul Sisters Podcast with Jesse
and Vicky. We're best friends, sisters in Christ, and your new favorite duo for all things faith, motherhood, real life chaos, and a whole lot of laughter.
Don't mind us if we go off on random talks.
It's just who we are.
But we'll also hold space for the hard stuff, the deep, honest, faith-filled conversations that matter.
So whether you're driving, folding laundry, or hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes of peace, you've got a seat at our table. Come hang out with us.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode.
We just got done laughing our brains off right now.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys. We're happy to be back. How was your day? How was your day today?
Exhausting.
It was exhausting. You had a long day, huh?
Oh, my God. Work is crazy.
Work is crazy. I didn't work today. I was running errands, but exhausting.
It's still the same.
It's still the same thing. And then you get home, and then you got other things to do, and you're like, I could just take a nap right now.
Oh my God, that was me
on
Tuesday.
I'm not going to because I have other things to do, so I didn't.
That was me on Tuesday. I had off, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna relax today before I go to work. Leandra starts cleaning, and I'm just looking at her
like,
like,
not right now.
Leave me alone. And she's like, come on, let's go. And then she starts cleaning, and then she leaves me halfway, and I'm like, you already got me in the urge to clean, man.
Now you have to join her.
So I was like cleaning and doing everything, and then I just looked at her. I was like, I want a nap. So that led me to Wednesday, coming back to work, and I got home. Me and Timothy fell asleep until 9 o'clock. The kids were awake. They were playing around.
Oh my God.
They were playing, watching TV, eating up the whole kitchen, and me and him were out. Like, we were dead asleep.
They were probably like, yeah. Party!
Oh my God.
Aw. They had the time of their lives then. That's what I like to hear.
But that nap was good.
That was good. So what are we talking about today? What are we going to talk about?
So today we actually want to talk about boundaries.
Boundaries.
In church, personal lives. You know, how many times can we say that we actually had to, like, prove ourselves and be strong enough to set a boundary?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know for me, I had to force myself into it. I'm like the most person that I'm just like, if someone does something to me, I'll let them walk over me, and I'll just like, oh, okay, it's okay, no, it's whatever, you know. But I had to learn to like, no, because it was destroying me.
Yeah.
It was like physically and mentally destroying me.
Yeah, it could really, really tear you down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Your mental health, it could really affect that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I feel like for, like, you know, church-wise and, you know, in personal, but mostly in church, it's so hard to set boundaries because as a Christian, we're called to forgive and to keep going and that. And it's true, yeah, you can forgive, but if it hurts you, you got to heal from that, you know? And I remember me being so heartbroken and going, I can't forgive at this moment. Like, there is no way that I can forgive someone of how hurt I was. And it was turning into hate. Like, it was turning into hatred. And I remember I'm like, okay, in order for me to heal, I need to split this up, you know, and set a strong boundary.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that's hard. Me knowing a little bit about, you know, what you went through and your testimony and things like that. You definitely had some hard situations, and that we'll talk about in another episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk about like our testimonies and things like that. But yeah, you really did go through it, and I can only imagine like
it was
you
so
having to set those boundaries and
it's harder
finding the courage to set those boundaries.
Yeah, because it's so much harder when it's with family.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah, because it's your family. It's family.
So it's so much harder to sit there and go, no, I'm not seeing them. I'm not talking to them. I'm not doing this. And I'm like actually holding it in. And it was like a battle, a constant battle with my mental health. Like I was literally depressed. so depressed. And it was just like, no, like the depression, the hatred, it was, you know,
Everything growing inside of you at one
Yeah.
shot is like,
it was about to explode. So I'm like, I need to set these boundaries, because if not, I'm going to explode, and it's going to explode on the wrong person.
and it's gonna get
didn't-
really bad.
And I did not want that. So I had to set boundaries. And you know what? Boundaries are so important to heal. You know, they're so important. And, you know, it's important, and it's biblical too. Because if we can see, God is a God of boundaries. You know, he set boundaries for us by setting the rules, you know, the law, the 10 Commandments. That was his way of setting boundaries. You know, and if he can set boundaries, why can't we?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a question, and if you see me looking down, I have my little notes. But, you know, we also had the example of Jesus setting boundaries in the Bible too.
Right.
You know, he set boundaries of taking time for him to go by himself. And I know that most of the times there's going, you know, back then, you know, that the disciples might have wanted to go with him everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And he had to set that, like, I need to pray by myself. I need to do this by myself. Like, you know, he was setting himself boundaries. And that's what I realized is, like, you have all these examples of boundaries. Why was it so hard for me to do it? You know? So for me to sit down and actually talk to my husband, and I remember telling him, you know, hey, I'm setting the boundary, and it's going to be that I'm not speaking with this side for a little bit unless I decide I want to. I'm not, you know, going to be any, and it wasn't, you know, it was a mutual decision, and he knew that in order for me to grow,
and
I
heal.
needed to.
And
Yeah,
heal.
and heal.
Because
And I felt like I was
the
pushing,
church hurt was
yeah.
real. Yeah.
I felt like I was pushing myself away from my family, his family, the church. I felt myself growing further from God. And I literally had to tell him, I was like,
Did you feel, sorry to interrupt you, but did you feel like you were like growing apart or separating yourself from your family too?
Yeah.
Like in that stage too?
oh yeah. And it felt like I said, it was a mixture of everything, and I just felt numb. So numb that I really didn't feel anything anymore. Like, it was causing hiccups in my marriage. It was causing an interruption with my way with the kids, and I was just like, this is not healthy. You know, I just felt like everywhere I looked, I was hearing, you know, when you start thinking of something and you're doing something, it starts popping up, and everywhere I looked, I kept seeing, oh, forgiveness this, forgiveness that, and I'm just like,
You're like, how?
yeah, I
How am I
found
supposed
myself
to do this?
screaming. And then I remember scrolling on my TikTok, and I saw this one girl talking about, you know, I love you, but I don't trust you. I
That's
love
real.
you, but there's a boundary.
That's real.
And then I sat there and I was like, okay, this is for me. And, you know, she was talking about how her pastor was using the analogy of a broken arm. How when we have a broken arm, we have to put a cast in place in order for that to heal and set that boundary. And I was like, okay, that's my cue for me to set a cast on my heart to heal it back up in order for me to open it and be who I need to be with everybody, you know? And, you know, protecting the heart is a giant, big thing. And it says it, you know, in Proverbs 4:23, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So that is the major important thing, is to always guard our hearts. And how can we guard it if it's broken? You know?
Yeah.
And I just needed to heal it at that moment. I felt like I was crying out. And I remember, I know we talked about it, like when we were saying don't let anybody determine your worship last episode. We talked a little bit about it, of that prayer thing.
Oh, yeah.
The dear God, ...
Right.
with the tears.
Right.
I felt like I was doing so much of that. And then at one point, I'm sitting there, and I remember going, God, arranca, just rip out everything in my heart. Rip out everything that's holding me back from you, because in order for me to heal, I need you to take it out. I was like, I know it's going to hurt, and I know it's going to cause me to scream and fight and cry, but just take it out. Like, I need you to take it out, because I can't live this way anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
As humans, we we tend to hold on to a lot of
Oh, yeah.
things and hold on to a lot of feelings that we aren't supposed to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Jesus was able to forgive, then why can't we? You know,
Yeah.
why can't we forgive others for hurting us? And wow, it's a really good topic.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through the same experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, of having to set boundaries and with certain people and certain groups of people, and it's hard. It's hard having to be like, no, you know, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hang out with you for this. I'm not going to hang out with you for that. You know, and you tend to setting boundaries, not only speaking in church or spiritually speaking now, like, you know, regular living, you know,
Yeah.
your daily lives, you tend to lose a lot of people. You tend to lose people because you set certain boundaries.
And they're not on your level.
And they're just not on your level. Yeah, they're just not on your level of thinking and of, you know, reacting to certain things. And at the end of the day, nobody, you don't deserve to feel, how can I word it? You don't deserve to feel like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that feeling that you had in your heart, like that was growing into hatred and things like that. You know, that's not, you don't deserve to feel like that.
And that's like one of the hardest things. It's like you're so used to seeing a certain person, a certain group of people, and every single day, and then to literally set that boundary and cut yourself off, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because at least, you know, you miss that side of the family, you miss that side of the person in your personal life. And to sit here and be like, no, you're not respecting my decisions, you know, this is what's going to help me. And if you don't respect that, you can't be in my life. And I feel like people tend to take it as a joke, especially when you're one that you never say no to anything. They're like, oh, come on, you're just joking. And they try to keep pushing it.
Pushing
It's
the
like,
subject. And it's like,
no, I said no. And man, it feels so good to actually put your foot down and be like, I said no.
yeah.
Like, no, we're
It
done.
feels good. Like, you're a boss. Like, no, I got control of this. Like,
Right? Like, no, I said no, and no is no. Like, simple. And I know it's like, you know, no is such a small word, but man, it means so much. And it's like you said, you know, to forgive, like we're called, and yes, we're called to forgive 70 times, 7 times, you know,
right.
over and over again. But that doesn't mean to open up your heart for them to keep breaking it over and over again. It's like,
I forgive you, but I'm not gonna let you back in
Exactly.
that spot that you once were, because you've already hurt me to the point where, and it's not that you're holding on to things.
exactly.
Because you're not holding on to it. If you're forgiving somebody for doing something to you or something towards you, you're letting it go. You have to guard your heart. You know, you have to take care of your heart, and your heart flows. You know, your heart. You do your actions. Your actions come from your heart. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like you caught that right on time. You know, like right when you needed to. As far as like when you felt like that hatred was starting to grow, and those other feelings were starting to grow within you. You caught it right on time, because there's a lot of people that don't catch it on time. You know, and they allow that hate to grow inside of them, and they turn into a completely different person. You know, they have so much hatred, not even for just a situation that happened, but for everything else that comes into their lives. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
they carry that on.
It doesn't stop, you know, and it keeps multiplying.
It keeps multiplying and growing, yeah.
And it's something that's like weed, basically, like the weed from the ground that, you know, it's contagious, and it's like, stop it. Like, you need to pull it out by the root. To do it. And, you know, and there's something that says, you know, heal what's in your heart. And it says here, it's like, forgiveness is a release, but healing is a process. So it's like, I forgive you, you're releasing that person from your heart, but now it's the part where you have to heal. That's going to take some time, but it's going to get there. And I can say it takes some time, because I remember it taking almost
I remember
a year and a half, 2 years.
I remember
before me fully saying, all right, I'm good. you know, and going, wow, it literally took this long
Yeah.
for me to go, okay, now I can communicate a little bit more with you. Or, you know, and even to this day,
And I can be in the same room as you, or like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
And
I feel you.
I still have my boundaries. And
No,
know,
you have to
and
have them.
It's like, I'm not removing them, you know, you're not taking them out from there, but you're just letting them know, hey, you know,
These are set, and
we
don't
can
cross
talk.
that line.
Yeah, we can talk, but the minute you cross this line, you saw how easy it was for me to cut you off the first time. I can do it again.
Right.
You know? Yes, we're called to love one another, but we're also called to guard our hearts. You know, and like in Matthew 18, whenever you guys have a chance to look it up, it speaks from verses 21 to 22. It speaks a lot about how, you know, Jesus said to look out for others. So like if someone hurts you, you want to tell them, hey, you did this. It says to point it out to them, you know, speak to them one by one, like one-on-one, point it out to them. And if they don't believe you, then bring another witness in, speak with them about it again. And if they still don't believe you, then that is your enemy. But if they believe you, then that is your friend, and you have won them over into the kingdom, you know. And that also, it makes you seem, it's like, okay, if I'm telling you this is bothering me and this is, you know, become a problem now, your duty is to, all right, you know, let me stop, let me not do this. This is, you know, not going to go well. Sit down and communicate with someone. But I feel like communication has been lost, and people just tend to say whatever they want, not realizing, and I feel like majority of it is they're stuck in the olden ways. And it's so hard to get back from back then in the day, or, you know, whatever. But I feel like doing whatever you feel like because it was done back then in the day doesn't necessarily mean it's right for this time. You know, everybody's different.
Yeah, the generations are going to keep changing and growing.
Exactly. And you can't just do that. And I feel like majority of the olden, I don't want to say olden folk because they're not that old, but like
we love the old folks over here.
Exactly. But like the generations, like the higher generations, I feel like their main thing is that, you know, they don't say I'm sorry. And not only is I forgive you releasing, but so is I'm sorry. You know? And I grew up saying, if someone doesn't apologize to you for the hurt, you know, you apologize and walk away and forget it. Like, just, does that suck? Yeah, because if someone hurts you and, you know, they don't say, I'm sorry, you know, I've gotten hurt and nobody said sorry to me. I just rub it off now. But before then, it was hard because it's like, they haven't apologized. Why am I saying sorry? Like,
I didn't
don't
do
want
nothing.
to.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry releases you, you know? And in that part is like, you know, I say, I'm sorry, but this is the new boundary that's set in place and we're done here. You know, like, we move on to the next. And I feel like with that, it's so harder with other generations that they never received an I'm sorry growing up. They don't believe in that. And then for them, it's just, oh, you know, the sayings is, you know, we're family, you know, we're friends, you know, we've known each other for such a long time.
I'm sorry kind of thing.
Like, yeah, like, it's okay, it's fine. No, that does not give you a right to keep hurting me, you know? And I feel
also,
like
when you apologize, you take accountability for what you have done.
Exactly.
So, like you said, like, it's hard for you to, it's hard. Let's put it into perspective here. Let's say that, you know, I don't know, I kicked your shin, or I stomped on your foot or something, and I don't say anything. You see what I'm saying? Like, it can come down to the simplest thing. It can come down to the simplest thing, and that I've realized that. You know, I've realized that, like, with certain situations, when you speaking now, like, about the family and things like that, it's hard. You know, it's hard for somebody that doesn't have that dynamic with their family to be like, okay, yeah, let's sit down and talk about things. Just because I'm your mom, or just because I'm your dad, or just because I'm your mother-in-law, or your father-in-law, or whatever, you know, your cousin, doesn't mean that we don't have to sit down and have a conversation because I hurt you, or you know what I'm, vice versa, like you hurt me, or you, I don't know, did something physically to me, like that you hurt me physically.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. And then the thing is, it's like, oh, you know, like, let's say if something were like, oh, you love me, you know, whatever. Love doesn't give you access
Yeah.
to attack somebody. It's like, you know, you may not see it as an attack, but that person does. And like we said in other episodes, you never know what a person's going through. You never know what's their last straw. So you saying one little thing jokingly around, they might take it serious enough, you know? And love has boundaries. You know, we all have our limits. And having boundaries is healthy. You know, having boundaries outside in your personal life, having boundaries in the church, it's healthy. You know? Like I said, Jesus had boundaries. God created boundaries with us. You know, why is it so hard that we create boundaries and people are like, oh, come on, you're doing boundaries? Really? You're religious and you're doing... Like, no, that means nothing.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that you can walk all over me.
Like, oh, but you're supposed to love everybody. I can still love them, but I can love them from afar. You know, I don't have to be connected or like super close and just go, oh, you know, yeah, walk all over me. Yeah, just throw a rock at me. It's fine. You know, no. And then one thing I heard is that, you know, I heard one perspective of someone saying, if someone is causing you, like basically hurting you or crossing the line on the boundary, and they're basically your Judas, you know? And Jesus needed Judas to complete himself, to complete the resurrection, to go to that and step up. He was a stepping stone. So if this person that you have to put boundaries on and you're healing from the hurt, they are just your stepping stone for what you're truly becoming, you know? You are becoming something else once you heal. Because I can tell you now, I am not the same person I was.
Absolutely,
You know, I've grown. And I feel
It's
like...
become easier to forgive now.
It's become easier to forgive. It's become easier to forget. Because, oh my goodness, forgetting is so hard.
Yeah.
Especially going, oh, I forgive you. And then you come home like, but this person did this. This person did
like,
that.
I still remember.
You know, it's so hard because that's still not healing your heart. You're basically jabbing it over and over again. So it's like, it's become easier.
At the end of the day, we're human still too. Like we can't just be like, okay, I forgive you, and I'm just gonna forget, like completely forget about, you know, what actually happened. You can't.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
But it's a starting point.
But it's a starting point. Yeah,
it's a starting point. And it's like, I can say, like, I feel so much better now. Like, if something happens, I'm just like, whatever, you know. Like, obviously, as humans, do I get upset? Obviously, you know. And then, does it still hurt? Of course, I'm human. But I've learned that, all right, one little detail, here's my boundary. It comes back into play. You know, it's like, you just have to set your limit. You have to know your limit. And I feel like with me, I've learned to communicate my boundary with God in order for me to keep it flowing with everybody around me. It's like, all right, you know that I have this boundary set in place. Please take care of everything around me. And I feel like that has also helped with everything else too.
Being able to set those boundaries too, like that helped because you prayed about it, you know, and you felt that that reassurance from God, like, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that helps you set those kind of boundaries in a way that you don't feel like, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Am I being a jerk? Am I, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, am I being rude? Am I being mean? Like, because you don't want to come off like that either, because then what does that say about yourself? You see what I'm saying? Like, I was reading a passage on, I don't know, I remember where it was on, but I was reading something, and the lady was basically saying that how she feels like Christians in particular are so, like, they seem so angry all the time, you know, how they seem so angry and how they seem so just uptight, you know, about a lot of things, anything, church, just their daily lives. And, you know, there was people commenting about the same thing. You know, they were like, listen, we have to set some type of boundaries for ourselves. Boundaries. Because if not, people are just going to walk all over us. Yeah, we're Christian. Yeah, we're perceived to be like, oh, you know, we're holy and we're supposed to be nice to everybody and we're supposed to give, you know, whatever we have to everybody. That's not how it is. You know, that's not how it is. We are human at the end of the day, you know, just like any other person. See what I'm saying? We're human and we have feelings and we get upset. You know, like you said, of course we get upset and we feel certain things. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think that people are just like, oh, you're a Christian. You're supposed to be like this. You're not allowed to get mad. You're not allowed to get road rage. You're not allowed to, and I'm not saying road rage is good. We're not saying road rage is good. Like somebody crosses in front of me and I'm just like, God bless you. God bless your soul and all your children.
Like today on my way here, I kid you not, I'm stopped at a red light. Some guy randomly pops up, pulls down his window and just flicks me off. And I'm just, mind you, I'm in my car listening to a worship song, and he flicks me off and is just staring at me and flicking me off. I have no idea
Waiting
why.
for you to react.
And I just looked, and part of the song is, it was Amado de mi alma. So it was the part where it says, Yo te voy a servir, like I'm going to serve you, I'm going to do that. And I just kept singing that, and I was like, Lord, you deal with it. I'm not doing this.
You get mad for no reason.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I was just like, okay, whatever.
Even if,
you know, old me would have been like, hey, you.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
But, you know, when you have Christ, it's like, all right. I'm like, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That was myself, you know, with my own boundary. Like, don't respond, don't do this. Just keep singing, keep doing.
Just keep singing. Like, hey. Or just be like, oh, that will make them more mad.
Like, Jesus loves you.
Yeah, Jesus loves you. Bye. No, speaking a little bit on that is so dangerous nowadays. Doing things like that is so dangerous. It's not even funny. You don't even know what that person has in their car.
Exactly.
It could be a small petite little woman just like me, and like not even thinking anything of it. Somebody goes and flicks me off, and what happens? You know, like I have something in the car. Whatever. You see what I'm saying?
It's like, all right, yeah, he flicked me off. Like, obviously, as, you know, as humans, all right, you can get angry, do whatever.
If that's how you feel like you want to express your anger, then you can do that.
But never do that because you, like you said, you never know who has anything. It's
this
like,
world is so crazy.
Luckily enough for me, I was just like, Señor, cuídalo, tú haz lo que tú tienes que hacer.
Get him to where he needs to be.
Revélate, do what you gotta do. But, I was like, I'm not reacting. I'm not doing anything.
We're also not not hot-headed like that for us to be, you know, like.
Yeah, I'm just like, just keep going. But I was just like, you know, that's a boundary within myself. Like, don't react.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the main thing is like with me. Not only did I set boundaries with other people, guys, I set boundaries with myself. Like, don't act like this, don't talk like this, don't do this, don't cross this line, don't, you know, like, I had to mentally, physically, so.
No, because sometimes we got to put ourselves in check, too.
Oh, my God, yes.
We got to put ourselves in check, too, because at this point, listen, if we don't put ourselves in check, if we don't put boundaries for ourselves, we're going to lose it. We are going to lose it with the people around us.
Yes.
The people around us, and yeah, it could get really bad.
And I was just like, all right, good Lord. And I just kept singing, I'm going to serve you now, Jesus. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Back to what I was talking about, the post. There was a lot of people on there that were like talking about, you know, how we have to set those boundaries. We have to set those boundaries because we're normal, you know, we're normal people and we don't want to get walked all over either. And there was such a debate in the comment section. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it's so crazy how people can just be like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, you guys are just being angry. Like, I'm pretty sure the person that made that post has boundaries for themselves as well. I'm pretty sure that if somebody came up to them and you know, did something to them, they would either react or not react and set a boundary. Like, hey, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. Like, I can't talk to you anymore or whatever. You see what I'm saying? This person's acting, you know, like
Yeah, and then that's like one thing is like it's the double standard that's out there is that as Christians, we're not allowed to do anything else. We're not allowed to talk a certain way. We're not allowed to do a certain way. We're not allowed to have boundaries. We're not, and it's like Jesus did it. You know, and like I said at the beginning, Jesus had boundaries. He had his boundaries set in place on how he respond to people, when he would respond to people, how he would leave to do his prayers by himself in solitude. Those were his boundaries. So he's our example. So how is it that I'm not allowed? You know, and I feel like the double standard is so real.
Yeah.
With everybody. And it's like, oh, you know, as a Christian, you can't do it. It's like, I'm not a Christian. That is not me. I'm a human. Yes, I am, you know, I do believe in Christ, but that is not what I'm entirely made of. I am human. Jesus wept. Jesus, you know, cried. Jesus got angry. Jesus did this.
I was about to say
I'm like, I am him. He is me. I was like, he set an example, and it's not saying, oh, you know, Jesus set that example, that means I can be angry 24/7. No, but he just set the example that he is human, and that as humans we're going to go through all these emotions, we're going to go through all these problems, but it is okay. You know, and boundaries are healthy. You know, they're healthy in the church, they're healthy outside of the church. Because you're not just going to also go into church and let someone from the church disrespect you and do everything. No, you're going to have a set boundary. You can't treat me like that, you know? So it is healthy. And in order for us to heal and to guard our hearts, we have to set boundaries. You know, we can't just, you know, just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, above all else, guard your heart. You know, that is the main thing. And it's like, how can you guard it if someone has repeatedly stabbed it multiple times and you're just there holding the shredded pieces up going, okay, you know, yeah, here you go. It's already destroyed, but you can destroy it right here.
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know, like, no, you're going to set that boundary and be like, no, give me time to heal it, but you're not going to walk all over me afterwards, you know?
Now, during that healing process, what, like, let's talk a little bit about like what we do to help heal, help or allow God to heal our hearts in that process.
For me, it was just trusting, basically letting him, you know, do what he needed to do. Was it hard? Yeah. I mean, it's still hard because as, you know, as, like I said, as humans, it's hard to say, okay, God, here, take it over. Because I feel like with humans, we need to physically see something.
Right.
In order for it to do. And I feel like that was my main fight was, I can't see you, so how do I know you're doing it? You know? And like for me, I had to let it go and start kind of talking myself into it, like, okay, it's working, okay, this, like, that was my way of healing. But I had lots of private moments of just myself where I had to separate myself from my husband, my kids, and say, I just need like 5 minutes, go away, sit there and just cry. I felt like the biggest thing is when you cry, you're healing. Because you're just letting all your emotions out, and that's when you're most vulnerable. That's when he's like, okay, now I can come in, you know? And I felt like with me personally, I had to cry, separate myself, and just sit there and say, just take it. Because I knew that when I was vulnerable like that, I knew I was letting him do what he had to do.
Right.
And even though it hurt in that moment, but once he was done, I felt myself just breathing in and going, okay, now I got a little bit of strength to go.
Yeah, it feels better. It feels better to cry, just let those feelings out, because it's a lot. It's a lot, and it could really, really blow up, like blow out of proportion, and put you in a situation where you're like, dang, like how did I get here? You know, make you say or do things that you don't really have the intentions to do, you know, but because of the way you feel, you've reacted, you know, in that manner.
I feel like also one song that perfectly described one song that perfectly described what I was going through didn't come out until like last year. Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Oh, that's a good one.
when I heard that, why my parents forced me so much to go to church, because now I'm seeing the flowers growing, you
Right,
know?
yeah.
And I remember when you were going through your, you know, separation and all that, I remember sending you a song, Flowers in the Valley. And I was like, that song was you. And at the moment, you know, if you guys have a chance to listen to that song, this beautiful song, in the moment you didn't understand what was going on, but he was planting the seeds
Right.
for the
Yeah.
flowers to grow.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're seeing those flowers growing. And it's like, okay, now I get it.
Now I get why everything
Like,
happened the way that it
Yeah.
did.
Now I get why my parents were always going, you need to go to church. Now I get why my mom, you know, love my mom even to this day. She still calls me, did you pray? Did you do this? You have to pray more. You have to do this. It's like,
Yeah, constantly
Okay.
like pushing that. Yeah.
and it's like sometimes, you know, as humans, we get upset. It's like, Mom, stop reminding me that I have to pray. Stop reminding me that I have to do it. I know what I have to do. But then I sit there and think, okay, you know, maybe that's God telling me, hey, get a little connected more. Like, come on, like, get over here. So it's just like, you know, it's those seeds
Yeah.
that we're continuing to plant every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wish that I could like tell my younger self, you know, certain
Everything's gonna
things.
be okay.
Yeah, like
This is
everything's
gonna-
gonna be okay. Like just go with the flow, girl. Like don't
Yeah.
push it. Just relax. Yeah, I really wish that, you know, we could have done that because it would have saved us from a lot of
Heartaches.
heartaches. But it's all part of our testimony. It's
Yeah.
all part of who we are and how we've grown and how we
Exactly.
take care of ourselves in the future situations that approach.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it's a beautiful thing, you know?
it is a beautiful thing. Growth is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you feel like you're not growing, you're growing.
Yeah.
Even when you feel
like
like
I
you're not.
said, even when you feel you're at the rock bottom, you're never really there. You know, he's there holding you.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you have that mustard seed, there's nothing else that can, you know, take part of it.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to have that mustard seed or that I mean the mustard seed. Yes, you don't necessarily have to have that seed planted as a kid is what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
You don't have to have that planted as a kid, you know, just because, you know, and some of our viewers maybe are watching this and are like, oh, well, I never went to church as a kid, or my mom never made me go to church. My mom, you know, didn't go to church herself and she didn't make us go to church. That has nothing to do with it. You know, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no.
Your time is now. You know, your time is now. If you come across this podcast, your time is now. You know?
Let this be the seed being
Let us
planted. You know?
let us, you know, plant that seed for you, and we're here to help you grow and sprout.
Yeah. And you know, like we said, for any questions or anything, you guys are more than welcome to always send us a message. You know, like send us a DM. We have our TikTok and Instagram always linked down below. And, you know, we're just here to, you know.
Yeah, we're here to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions, like she said, don't be afraid to ask your questions or anything like that. And yeah. So
Thank you guys for watching another episode of Soul Sisters Podcast.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Sorry. I had to get it out of my system. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Great. Cut.
Emily's sitting there.
I'm crying.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.